Everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So today is actually free ratings Friday, and we've just had, keeping in line with it's Christmas coming up, we've had 5 top rated winners on the trot, 4 no, it's not 4 over hurdles. I thought it was 4 over hurdles. 3 beaten favourites. 3 beat the favourite in That's Nice. Who else beat the favourite? Relieved of Duties and Django By. 2 at Cheltenham, Country Mile and Django By, and 1 selected by me, Django By. So we nearly got the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 like in the 12 Days of Christmas. So yeah, we've just also had another race at Cheltenham, the Kate Bees Estate Handicap Hurdle, won by Mirabad. Now, interestingly, Mirabad had set the highest R figure last time out. So it wasn't a complete shock at all. The eye catcher for me is Bo Zenith. That was clearly a huge run on his first run for, what was it, 610 days off the track. And I also want to give a little mention to Valgrand. Harry hasn't moved on that horse, got him a long way back, not got after him. Now, interestingly, the horse has now had 1, 2, 3. This was his 4th run. He's already had 4 runs. This was his 5th run over hurdles. He's qualified for the county hurdle. Dan Skelton likes to target him like that. He might go, we're not quick enough for the county now, and they might end up in the Coral Cup. But I definitely want to keep an eye on Valgrand going forward for one of the handicaps at the Cheltenham Festival. I still believe that he is a graded horse that will be running in a handicap at the Cheltenham Festival. Looking at tomorrow. And we'll start off looking at a race that I'm not going to get involved in, but I do want to definitely watch it. And it is this race, the first race of the day, so you can actually see the ratings are still open for this race. And it's the Beginner's Chase at Fairyhouse featuring Majbra. Now, Majbra last season went to Cheltenham, beat Carges and all of the right horses in that Triumph Hurdle. I was very, very impressed with that performance. Great to see him over fences so quick. As a 4-year-old, really looking forward to seeing his performance tomorrow. They think he's a future Gold Cup horse. Yeah, he could well be. I was very, very impressed with his performances last season. I think he's one definitely to watch this season. But he's going to be short tomorrow. He's going to be short for many of his races this season. But it'd be interesting to see where they do end up with Majbra. Another race that I'm actually watching tomorrow, it's the Triumph Hurdle Trial featuring Ambient Amigo, Lavender Hill Mob, Mutard, who we highlighted would probably win next time, as in last time out. The reason for that is I've obviously highlighted Lavender Hill Mob for the Boodles Juvenile Handicap Hurdle. This looks a interesting race. It doesn't look like it's stacked of potential Triumph Hurdle horses, and if Ambient Amigo can win that race, that's what I hope for. Ambient Amigo to win, Lavender Hill Mob to finish 2nd or 3rd, and then end up in that Boodles. If they do win tomorrow, they'll probably end up in the Triumph, which will be frustrating, because I think Lavender Hill Mob, they could very carefully plan that and plot that to end up in the Boodles and have a real good chance in that. But anyway, moving on to the races that I do have selections in, starting off in the 1240 at Cheltenham. And the horse I like here is Peaky Boy. Now, he was our selection last time out when he won at Cheltenham over 2.5 miles. Throughout the race, I was a little bit concerned with his jumping. I thought his jumping left a lot to be desired, to be honest. And although he was really well supported, he ended up going off the 9-5 favourite. What sort of odds are they? Interestingly, that's the 5th consecutive race, all under rules, that he's gone off favourite. But yeah, he went off favourite. He didn't jump amazing, but still pulled away towards the finish. He was never stronger than at the finish for me. He went up £7 for that, but he's going up in trip, and I think that's key. I definitely think he wants this step up in trip, and I also think that the distance that he will be able to overcome those £7 because he's going to be a better horse, in my opinion, over this trip. I think he's going to be able to jump those fences a bit better because they're going to go a little bit slower. And if he hadn't made so many niggly errors at Cheltenham in November, I think they would have gone, well, we've got a graded horse here, and ended up running in the graded races. Because they want to get him more experience over fences, they're coming here. I think they'll win tomorrow as well. And he is currently available at, let's hope he's not available at 9 to 5. I still think they're silly odds. He's not. He's available at 6 to 4. Which I think, yeah, I think that's a fair price, to be honest. I think he is very, very progressive. I think he's very smart. I think he's going to end up in some nice races, and they can win a few handicaps en route with him. And the step up and trip should really suit. Sticking at Cheltenham, moving on to the 113 at Cheltenham, the horse that I like here, and I'm surprised at the price, and I think it should be shorter. It's Coco Mademoiselle. Let's have a look at the price for Coco Mademoiselle. She is currently available at 3 to 1 for the Skeltons, who, did they win the first two? No, they won the first race with Country Mile today. So their horses are still in good form. Now, I really like this horse. I think her form is good. And she was last seen running in a novice chase behind Hometown Boy. She was second to Hometown Boy, only pretty much caught on the line in front of We've All Been Caught. Now, the winner, Hometown Boy, is rated 142, is actually now still rated 142 after winning that, but came into that off the back of winning at Worcester in June, very comfortably, won by 10 lengths in a novices handicap chase. Coco Mademoiselle, that was her first ever over fences. She was taken on much higher rated horses, and she only lost by a head. I was really surprised the handicapper left her alone on 122. I thought they could have gone up to, you know, a higher mark for sure. They haven't. They've left her alone on this mark. I think that's very nice, to be honest. And we're back into easier company. This is a 0 to 125. The horses are significantly lower rated. They rate from 124. Their official marks 124. The lowest rated is 98. This is a much easier race than when she took on those two at Worcester, where Hometown Boy was rated 142. We've All Been Caught was rated 130. On Chaleur was rated 132. Jessaltique was rated 123. The lowest rated horse and the outsider of the field is rated 123. Tomorrow, the highest rated horse is rated 124, and everything else is lower, 121 and below. This is a much easier race. I don't see any reason why Coco Mademoiselle doesn't run a huge race here. I think Coco Mademoiselle should be shorter than what she is. She's currently available at 3s. I think she'll go off shorter. I can see her going off 6 to 4 for this. I thought she did nothing wrong getting beat last time out. We move on to the 150 at Cheltenham. Now, I have already highlighted one for this race in Fugitive. And I do like Fugitive. I think he's got a great chance. I am going to cover the other one, who's now being backed as well, a little bit shorter. I'm going to cover Madara at 4s. I've highlighted Madara for the Grand Annual at the Cheltenham Festival, hoping that they were going to get it beat a couple of times, drop it back in trip. I liked the first time out when finishing well beaten at Ascot. Thought that that plan was on. They then went to Cheltenham with Dan Skelton, and Dan stepped it up in trip, and it ran a really good race, finishing 4th. Just finishing in front of Fugitive, who wasn't, I don't think, ridden to actually get involved. But I think Madara wasn't either. I think the pair of them were weighted with other plans in mind. They were checking to see whether Madara got the trip. Fugitive was being laid out for this race. Madara did get the trip. Harry Skelton on board. Yeah. I'd be disappointed if one of these two do not win it in Madara and Fugitive. And we've already backed Fugitive. I'm going to back Madara. And I think I'll be, yeah, as I said, I'll be disappointed if I don't have the winner there. And if Madara does disappoint, just going back to that, if Madara does disappoint, maybe doesn't stay the trip, or looks like it doesn't stay the trip when ridden to actually get involved in the race, I'll be then more keen on him for the Grand Annual. You know, you can back a horse 2 or 3 times in a season. If they get beat a couple of times and then you get a 5-1 win on that horse, you're +3 for that horse. And that's how I kind of work out, you know, if I do back a horse multiple times. Moving off away from Cheltenham and to Doncaster, and I'm sticking with the Skeltons here. I do think they've got some great chances tomorrow. And the horse I like here is Sail Away. Now, failed to complete in all 3 of his runs this season. This season being, well, May, he pulled up. He then pulled up at Chepstow and then fell at Newbury. When falling at Newbury, I thought he was in the process of running a really nice race. I thought he was getting involved at the right time in what I think was a better race than what he's running in tomorrow. He was rated 138 that day. He's dropped £2 to 136. He's very nicely handicapped on his best form. We've got to remember that he was previously rated as high as 145. And if we actually go back to when he was winning at Ayr, off a mark of 136, so the mark he's running off, he comfortably beat Forward Plan and City Chief that day. Now, Forward Plan actually reopposes here and is significantly worse off at the weights. What time is this race? It's the 2:05. Sail Away is available at 10s. Forward Plan is 9-2 and yet is £12 higher. So Sail Away has previously beaten Forward Plan and is £12 better off. He's also previously gone to Doncaster for the Bet365 chase in this race last year. Forward Plan won it off 125, so he's gone up £12 since then. Sail Away, who wasn't beaten that far really, he was back in 6th that day, beaten 8 lengths. He was rated 144. He's down £8. So Forward Plan is up 12. Sail Away is down 8. Just doing the maths there. £20 different. He's got a £20 pull for getting beat in this race last year by 8 lengths. And it's not like it was a fluke. He then went to Doncaster for the Yorkshire Chase. He finished 4th. Sail Away did. Forward Plan finished 2nd. Again, there was nothing between them. There was about 4 lengths between them. Forward Plan is up 8. Sail Away is down 6. So what's that? £14. So he's £14 better off for 4 lengths and £20 better off for 8 lengths. That puts them really close. And you either have to push Forward Plan's price out or say Sail Away is better, should be a shorter price. And I think he should be a shorter price, Sail Away. Plus, as I said, go back and watch his run at Newbury over 2.5 miles. He was just about getting involved, quietly creeping into the race when falling. If he's given a same sort of ride, I want him dropped out tomorrow. If he's dropped out and allowed to come through late on, I think Sail Away is going to run a really big race here at 10s. So he is one of my selections at Doncaster. We then we stick at Doncaster for the 3:15. I like Outer Belly here. Let's have a look at his price. Oh, 3:15. Outer Belly is 5-2. He's the favourite. It's not a surprise. He disappointed at the end of last season when finishing well down the field in the Betfair Hurdle. But it was the Betfair Hurdle. And he went off 5-1 for the Betfair Hurdle, having previously finished 3rd at Ascot behind Lucia and Impose Trois, and also finished 2nd at Ascot in the Seat Unique Handicap Hurdle behind Knickerbocker Glory. Now, really, Outer Belly should have been going back for that race in December in about 10 days' time. For some reason, they're not. They're coming here. I'd be disappointed if he didn't win this, and then, you know, maybe they're trying to win this and go off back to the Betfair Hurdle, potentially. You don't go off 5-1 for a Betfair Hurdle, rated 132. Your next run, you're running for 130 in a significantly easier handicap. I'd be disappointed if Outer Belly doesn't win, even with that layoff. His run on his comeback last year, 2nd to Knickerbocker Glory. Now, Knickerbocker Glory has a very good record fresh. We got on that last week, and he won for us at Sandown when, you know, fresh. Hadn't run for 251 days. You struggle to beat Knickerbocker Glory on your first run. Outer Belly still ran a really good race to finish 2nd. He's still young. He's only a 6-year-old. And yeah, I think Outer Belly, I can understand why all the money's coming for him now. 5-2, I think, is still a fair price. And finally, the last one we are going to go for is at Cheltenham in the 335, and we're going to stick with connections that we think are going to have a really good day, and that is Dan Skelton and Harry Skelton with Take No Chances. Now, we've just had That's Nice disappoint for JP McManus, so hopefully Joyeuse could follow suit, who is the favourite. But why do I like Take No Chances? I thought she looked nicely handicapped when finishing third in the Silver Trophy behind Josh the Boss and Doyen Quest. Now, that race has worked out pretty well already. Lowry's Bar, who was fourth, has come out and won. Doyen Quest has come out and won. Take No Chances finished third that day off a mark of 136. They then dropped her back in trip. She went to Wetherby for a mare's listed race. She won by 10 lengths. Absolutely, comfortably beat everything. Lucia disappointed and ended up retiring. Take No Chances won it. Handicapper didn't move her. 137. Oh no, pushed her up £1. Sorry, £1 for beating a horse who was also rated 136. I didn't totally understand that. Take No Chances comfortably beat Royal Eagle, and then the Skeltons pitched her in at the deep end. They went for the fighting fifth, and she had no chance in that. She finished fifth. Back into mare's handicap company. So not only is it a mare's race, it's also a handicap. She's actually dropped for her run at Newcastle in the fighting fifth, back to that 137 mark. Yeah, I think that's crazy, to be honest. And she goes back up in trip. I think she wants that trip. She's been running over 3 mile last season, including in a handicap hurdle where she beat Highland. That was a good performance. Back up to 2.5 mile. She's been, possibly stealing races over 2 mile and getting some prize money. They now go back up in trip into handicap company. I think she's going to run a huge race here. And because of Joyeuse, she's a nice price. Let's just have a look. It's the final race at Cheltenham. She's currently available at 6s. There's only 1 7th and 1 13. So she's available at 6s. I think she'll go off second favourite behind Joyeuse. And if the Hendersons come out and, poo-poo the mark for Joyeuse, she could end up significantly shorter. I think Take No Chances is potentially the second best mare in this race, maybe even the best. We're just unsure about Joyeuse, but I'm willing to take the 6s about Take No Chances, that she's nicely handicapped, even off this, having to give this weight away to Joyeuse. Yeah, so they are my selections for tomorrow. So a quick recap. The first race, the 1240, Peaky Boy, I think the step up and trip will suit. It will allow him to jump a bit slower. That was all that let him down last time, despite winning. Went up £7 for that. I don't think that's enough. I think he's a graded horse, getting more experience over fences. The 115, Coco Mademoiselle, I thought her effort last time out when second behind a much higher rated horse and in front of a higher rated horse was a good effort. They drop her back into handicap company. I think she's nicely handicapped, especially off that the basis of that run. The 150, I am throwing Madara in as well. I am going to have a small bet on that just to cover, as a cover bet. I hope Fugitive can still win, but Madara, if the Skeltons are going for it, could well be a fly in the ointment. Sail Away, another Skelton. I think they've got that nicely handicapped. Was in the process of running a really big race when falling at Newbury. Was coming there really nicely. Is significantly better off at the weights with forward plan for not that many lengths, including in this race last year. And yeah, lots to like about Sail Away, to be honest. Outer Belly. The only disappointment came in the very competitive Betfair Hurdle. On his return last season, he got beat by another horse who thrives off layoffs, Knickerbocker Glory. Those two efforts that at Ascot were good. Surprised to see him running here and not at Ascot. Maybe they've gone, we can win this instead and go on to bigger and better things. And finally, Take No Chances in the last. She is nicely handicapped. last seen actually running in the Fighting Fifth, goes up in trip. I think that will bring a little bit more out of her. And the Skeltons look to have sent quite a few here with big chances.